revolutionized the way a point guard plays the game.
He's one of the best point guards we've ever had.
I'm hoping that I'm going to start a steady stream of players from Canada into the NBA.
Steve Nash, one of the best ever.
There's never been a player like him. The guy is the most incredible player we've seen ever in the NBA.
What happens when a player outsmarts everyone, not with size or speed, but with his iconic passing?
He was so difficult to guard because of the players that he played around and just how smart he was with the basketball.
Steve Nash didn't just play the game, he saw the court like no one else.
Just how he controlled the tempo of the game, it was masterful.
Using his vision and precision to outsmart defenders and redefine what it means to be a point guard. His journey from MVP to head coach proves that his influence is far from fading. It's only just beginning.
When I kind of measure greatness, you talk about how many guys he made better.
Oh, man.
And there's a long list of guys.
Stephen John Nash, a Canadian basketball icon, is known for both his illustrious playing career and his recent coaching stint with the Brooklyn Nets. In 18 NBA seasons, Nash was an 8-time All-Star and 2-time MVP, making him one of the greatest point guards in history. Steve Nash dazzled in high school basketball, earning a scholarship to Santa Clara University. There, he led his team to 3 NCAA tournaments and became a 2-time WCC Player of the Year.
He is zip on the ball. And he hits from outside.
Drafted by the Phoenix Suns in 1996, Nash struggled at first, but his move to the Dallas Mavericks saw him blossom into a star, leading the team to the Western Conference Finals along with Dirk Nowitzki. When Nash returned to Phoenix in 2004, he didn't just peak, he changed the game. Back-to-back MVPs and a run-and-gun offense that no one saw coming, Nash transformed the Suns into the most unstoppable force in the league. Known for his incredible playmaking and shooting, Nash consistently ranked among the league's best in assists, three-pointers, and free throw percentage.
We played a style that was thought to be revolutionary at the time, but really, we should have doubled down.
Outside of basketball, Nash has made his mark as a philanthropist, co-owner of Vancouver Whitecaps FC, and leader of Canada's national basketball team. So let's start from the initial days of his career to his recent performance stats to see how Nash has been outsmarting everyone with his iconic passing. Steve Nash's journey to the NBA began on the cold streets of Canada, where his love for the sport took root long before he touched basketball. An English father, a former professional footballer, Nash's early years were filled with football and ice hockey shaping his vision and footwork. He only picked up a basketball at the age of 12 or 13, but by then his multi-sport childhood had already shaped the creativity and precision that would define his career. His competitive spirit grew in high school, where he averaged 21.3 points and 11.2 assists. Proving his childhood passions laid the groundwork for NBA success.
Nice job, Steve Nash.
He is some player. He is some...
Despite high school coach Ian Hyde-Lay sending countless letters and highlight reels to more than 30 American universities, Steve Nash's recruitment was unusually quiet. No big school seemed interested until Santa Clara coach Dick Davey took a chance. Davey watched Nash's footage, then saw him play in person, and quickly realized he had discovered something special. It didn't take a Nobel Prize winner to realize this guy was pretty good, Davey said, recalling his nerves. However, Davey didn't hold back on the criticism, publicly telling Nash that he was the worst defensive player he had ever seen. In 1992, Nash accepted a scholarship to Santa Clara University and never looked back. The Broncos hadn't made the NCAA tournament in 5 years, but Nash turned things around. His freshman season culminated in a WCC title and a memorable upset over number 2 Arizona in the NCAA tournament. Although Santa Clara's magical run ended in the next round against Temple, Nash's leadership had already put the Broncos back on the map.
There was all this talk about Steve Nash, whether he was going to make it to the NBA, and I was like, I don't know whether he's going to make it or not, but I'd like to be the recipient of some of those passes.
The next season was a rough one for Santa Clara, but Nash bounced back in 1994-95, earning his first West Coast Conference Player of the Year award as the Broncos returned to the top of the conference. Leading the league in both points and assists, Nash led his team back to the NCAA tournament, but they fell to Mississippi State in the first round. Faced with this setback, Nash spent the summer of 1995 sharpening his game. His hard work paid off. In the 1995-96 season, Nash once again led Santa Clara to the WCC title and became the first player since Kurt Rambies to win back-to-back Conference Player of the Year honors. Confirming his leadership and ability, he dropped 28 points in another NCAA tournament appearance, this time over number 7 Maryland.
He took Santa Clara to heights it hadn't seen in a long time and hasn't seen since.
What Steve was always capable of doing is displaying his brilliance for the game.
But could he bring that same magic to the NBA, where the competition was fiercer than ever? From a humble high school athlete to the pride of Santa Clara, Steve Nash's rise has been spectacular. Despite being overlooked by major college programs, Nash's basketball genius began to shine at Santa Clara, where he led the Broncos to the NCAA tournament and produced stunning upsets, known for his court vision and sharp shooting. His time in Santa Clara laid the foundation for his NBA greatness, transforming him from a Canadian underdog to a star poised to redefine the point guard position. Nash's journey was a harbinger of the brilliance he would bring to the NBA scene, and a harbinger of the two-time MVP we now celebrate. Fresh out of Santa Clara with a sociology degree in hand, Steve Nash entered the 1996 NBA draft with moderate expectations but a big heart for the game. Nash, who was selected 15th overall by the Phoenix Suns, didn't get a hero's welcome. Suns fans booed the pick, unimpressed by the relatively unknown Canadian kid.
The Phoenix Suns select Steve Nash from the University of Santa Clara.
At 6'3", Steve Nash wasn't the tallest by NBA standards, especially coming from Canada, where basketball dreams were rare. However, his skill and vision more than compensated, proving that greatness isn't defined by height. Sure, Nash had burned it in college, but he didn't come from one of the NCAA's powerhouse conferences, and Suns fans were skeptical. However, assistant coach Donnie Nelson had known Nash since high school and was convinced the team had found a gem. Nelson's faith in Nash would soon pay off, though his first stint in Phoenix was more of an appetizer than a full meal of his later career. In his rookie year, Nash didn't see much court time, playing just 10.5 minutes per game, sitting behind a star-studded backcourt of Kevin Johnson and later Jason Kidd. By his second season, Nash was already shining, ranking 13th in the league in three-point field goal percentage. Still, his time in the desert was cut short when Donnie's father and newly hired general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, Don Nelson, saw an opportunity. In a bold move after the 1998 draft, Dallas traded for Nash. Phoenix had lost a rising star and Dallas had gained a cornerstone. Nash's arrival in Dallas marked the beginning of his rise to NBA stardom. His first season as a Maverick was marred by a lockout, limiting the 1998-99 campaign to just 40 games. Although Nash averaged 7.9 points and 5.5 assists per game, it was the start of something special. In the 1999-2000 season, he returned from a midseason ankle injury to record 6 double-doubles in the final month of play. Dallas was changing. Dirk Nowitzki became a star in just his second season.
I thought he was a weirdo, with bad hair, but we started hanging out. He took me out a little bit, and I could just see, this is a guy that's going to help me out a lot, not only on the court, but off the court.
In 2001, Nash was officially on the map, averaging 15.6 points and 7.3 assists per game. His breakout year, with Nash orchestrating the offense and Nowitzki and Finley firing on all cylinders, the Mavericks made the playoffs for the first time in more than a decade. Although they were swept by the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference semifinals, the Mavericks were no longer an afterthought. Nash continued his upward trajectory in the 2001-02 season, posting career highs of 17.9 points and 7.7 assists per game. He earned his first All-Star appearance and an All-NBA third-team nod. With the big three of Nash, Nowitzki, and Finley, Dallas advanced to another playoff round, but this time they fell short of the semifinals to the Sacramento Kings. The following year, Nash posted similar numbers, 17.7 points and 7.3 assists per game. The Mavericks came out of the gates on a 14-game winning streak, eventually reaching the Western Conference Finals for just the second time in franchise history. Despite their individual success, Nash and the Mavericks failed to make the playoffs. The 2003-04 season bolstered Dallas's lineup with Antoine Walker and Anton Jamison, but Nash's scoring dipped slightly. Again, he posted career highs in assists, 8.8 per game, and free throw shooting shooting 91.6%. But this time, his All-Star and All-NBA honors eluded him. Dallas was swept by the Kings in the first round of the playoffs, and as Nash hit free agency, team owner Cuban hesitated to offer him a long-term contract, choosing instead to build around the young Nowitzki. Phoenix, however, saw value in Nash and signed him to a 6-year, $63 million contract.
To be able to come back under these circumstances is just fantastic, and I think it's a perfect circle for me.
I didn't know how great Steve was until he got to Phoenix. And then when I realized, like, this guy's the real deal.
When Nash rejoined the Suns in 2004, he came to an underdog team, but with Nash's brilliance and coach Mike D'Antoni's run-and-gun attack, the Suns shocked everyone. Nash's mastery at point guard turned Phoenix into the league's most potent offensive machine, bettering their win total of 33 games from the previous season, and finishing with an NBA-best 62-20 record.
Of Steve Nash is just mind-boggling.
Not only has a great imagination, but the ability to pull it off. Steve Nash is just phenomenal.
Nash himself was spectacular, averaging 11.5 assists and shooting over 50% from the field and 43.1% from three. His role as the engine behind the NBA's highest scoring team earned him his first MVP award, beating out Shaquille O'Neal.
NBA MVP.
In the 2005 playoffs, Nash led the Suns on an unforgettable run, but when they faced the Spurs, the magic ran out. In 5 hard-fought games, Nash's championship dreams were put on hold once again. Despite losing Amari Stoudemire to a serious knee injury the following season, Nash led the Suns to the top of the standings with a 54-28 record. He scored 18.8 points per game, while also leading the league in assists, 10.5 per game, and free throws 92.1%. For his efforts, he won his second consecutive MVP award, joining elite company as the 9th player to do so. The Suns once again made a deep playoff run, only to lose to Nash's former team, the Mavericks. Nash's 2006-07 season was another masterpiece. 18.6 points, a career-high 11.6 assists, and another trip to the playoffs. Although he fell short in his quest for a third straight MVP by losing to Nowitzki, Nash's Suns returned to the top of the league, winning 61 games before falling to the Spurs once again in the playoffs. The following years saw Nash continue to perform at a consistently elite level among the league's best players, but the Suns couldn't quite capture the same magic. The arrival of Shaquille O'Neal in 2008 brought championship hopes, but Phoenix fell short in the first round of the playoffs. However, it wasn't until 2010 that Nash orchestrated their last deep playoff run, leading Phoenix to the conference finals before losing to the Los Angeles Lakers. In the highlight of his career, Nash remained one of the league's most accurate shooters and elite passers. By 2012, at age 38, he was still an all-star and leading the league in assists. However, the Suns missed the playoffs, and Nash's time in Phoenix ended quietly but not without leaving an indelible mark on the franchise and the NBA. His return to Phoenix returned the Suns to relevance, earned him 2 MVPs, and cemented his legacy as one of the game's greatest point guards. On July 11, 2012, the Los Angeles Lakers made an NBA-boosting move by acquiring veteran guard Steve Nash. Nash, a 2-time MVP and undisputed playmaker, was entering his 17th NBA season with question marks about his back and defensive ability, but the allure of the Lakers' star-studded roster, which included Kobe Bryant and newly acquired Dwight Howard, was too tempting to resist. However, his time in LA didn't go as well as anyone expected. In the second game of the 2012-13 season, Nash collided with Portland's Damian Lillard, causing a non-displaced fracture of his left leg. What was originally expected to be a short 1-week recovery turned into a grueling 7-week absence. After a 1-4 start, the Lakers fired head coach Mike Brown and brought in Nash's former mentor Mike D'Antoni to reignite the offense. It was a matchup that many hoped would repeat the glory days of Phoenix. When Nash finally returned on December 22nd, he made an immediate impact, finishing with 12 points and 9 assists in a tight overtime win against Golden State. LA won 3 of the next 4 games, but inconsistency soon reared its head again. The season marked a sharp turn for Nash's personal milestones, and became only the 5th player in NBA history to reach the 10,000 assist milestone. It was a career-defining statistic that cemented his place among the greatest. What should have been a season of triumph turned into a nightmare. A devastating hip injury led to nerve damage, forcing Nash to watch helplessly from the sidelines. The dream of a championship slipped through his fingers. Entering the playoffs as the 7th seed, the Lakers were quickly swept by the San Antonio Spurs in the first round. Nash missed the final 2 games of that streak, what he would later call perhaps the most frustrating season of his career, missing 32 regular season games and dealing with persistent injuries. The 2013-14 season was not pleasant for Nash. His nerve problems continued and sidelined him for most of the season. In November 2013, Nash was sidelined for at least 2 weeks with nerve root irritation, and when he returned in February 2014, it was clear he was not the same player. Although he celebrated his 40th birthday in style by dropping a season-high 19 points in a win over the Philadelphia 76ers, Nash's body continued to fail him. He was sidelined for the rest of the season after aggravating nerve problems in a collision with Chicago's Kirk Hinrich in March. Nash's role diminished. Despite Farmar's brief return from a groin injury, it was clear that Nash was nearing the end of his career. By July 2014, Nash knew the end was in sight, announcing that the 2014-15 season would be his last.
My time playing this game has been incredible. I played on some great teams, had a lot of success, and just wasn't able to get over the hump a few times.
However, before the season, the back pain flared up again from just lifting the trunk. Less than a week into his 19th NBA season, Nash is officially out for the year due to recurring back injuries. While injuries cut Nash's playing days short, his basketball IQ and leadership made him a hot commodity in other roles. In September 2015, Nash joined the Golden State Warriors as a part-time consultant. His first season with the team was historic as the Warriors set an NBA record with a 73-9 regular season record, although they fell short in the finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The following year, the Warriors bounced back, winning the 2017 NBA championship and giving Nash his first ring, albeit in a different capacity than he envisioned as a player. Nash's brilliance was officially recognized on September 7, 2018, when he was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. He was named to the NBA's 75th anniversary team in October 2021, cementing his legacy as one of the game's all-time greats. In September 2020, Nash stepped into the role of head coach of the Brooklyn Nets and faced a new challenge. Despite having no previous head coaching experience, Nash quickly proved himself. In his first season, he led the Nets to a 48-24 record and won Eastern Conference Coach of the Month honors for February 2021. Under his guidance, Brooklyn's star-studded roster has become one of the most dangerous offensive teams in the league. However, despite high expectations, Nash's tenure as coach came to an abrupt end in November 2022 amid internal controversy surrounding the team's key players. Ultimately, Steve Nash's legacy transcends his time on the court. Whether orchestrating the offense as one of the best point guards to ever play the game or leading teams from the rim, Nash left an indelible mark on basketball characterized by his precision, vision, and relentless pursuit of perfection, even when his body betrayed him. Steve Nash's journey to basketball greatness was marked by both failures and wins. After being cut from Canada's junior national team in the early 1990s, he quickly bounced back and won a silver medal at the Summer Universiade at just 17 years old. His international breakthrough came in 1999, when he led Canada to Olympic qualification for the first time in 12 years and was named Tournament of America MVP. At the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Nash led Canada to a stunning victory over Yugoslavia, although they lost in the quarterfinals. His Olympic performance raised his status in Canada, but a disappointing 2004 Olympic qualifier and the firing of coach Jay Triano spelled the end of his international playing career. In the NBA, Nash shined as one of the best playmakers in league history, leading the league in assists 5 times and winning 2 MVP awards. Known for his dazzling passing and elite shooting, Nash has been part of the exclusive 50-40-90 club 4 times. Returning to the Phoenix Suns in 2004, he guided the team to a 62-win season and multiple playoff runs. Off the court, Nash continued to influence Canadian basketball, becoming the national team's general manager in 2012. His legacy as one of the greatest guards of all time, a 2-time MVP, and a Canadian basketball pioneer is firmly established. Steve Nash's basketball legacy continues to shine brightly as he embarks on this next chapter of his journey. From dazzling fans to redefining what it means to be a floor general, Nash has always defied expectations. Even after hanging up his jersey, his impact on the game remains undeniable. Whether coaching or mentoring the next generation, Nash's influence is far from over. As he continues to shape the sport he loves, one thing is clear: Steve Nash's legacy will be etched in basketball history forever.